decide DJing like a little bit over 3 years. Yeah, I thought myself I was just sitting in the house. I thought myself how to DJ, and then I just started doing it, and I fell in love with it. Yeah, I love DJing now. Performing is just like everything.
I started skateboarding 5 years ago. Me and Mike was living in the same neighborhood, and I saw Mike skating on the street, and then I talked to him to skate with him, and then he said okay. So he had extra board at that time, and he gave me a board.
I started skateboarding in 2016, I think it's June, and my cousin told me about a group of kids called Ethiopia Skate, and I checked them on Facebook, and accidentally I met some of the kids on the neighborhood skating, and I talked with them, and I told them that I want to skate, and that way I started skating with them.
I started writing in high school, influenced by good literature, poetry as well. After leaving that, like around the mid-2000s, I started writing lyrics, hip-hop, being involved in the culture around there. I wanted to find a place for myself in the culture. I loved the b-boys and the spraying and the music as well, everything that was quite colorful.
Iris, even though the rough die, crack when I speak cheap words with alumni, I feel like I'm chasing traces. Focus faded, focus faded. Who knows what hides behind these grey clouds, coercing men to bear frowns when even fake crowns eventually bow low to the baseline.
Trace the movement of the gods, heavenly steps, lifespan preset, icon artist, the pretext, moving targets, our crow armies, convergent crowds of men we're far from innocent, mentally trained on busted tenements.
And this kind of influenced my writing style as well. I went for something quite image-based, something poetic as well, something that went against the mainstream. So in the first couple of years, I was just trying to find a space, I guess, for myself through writing.
Well, this took some time because I was also working on my style. So I think immediately after high school, that's around the year 2000, that's when I started doing it seriously. A lot of inspiration from local artists. There's a couple of local visual artists who I find inspiring in the sense that people like Patrick Mukabi, people like Native Nairobi, with his illustrative style.
Indegana and Rafnan. Yeah, I think those are two of my favorite local artists right now.
The first example that I saw that inspired me from South Africa were cats like Squatter Camp, you know, like a hip-hop crew as well, Lymphatic Tabs, Doomy and the Volume. These were also guys who were kind of going sort of against the mainstream, you know. Their work was quite felt in the underground. It also, like, I feel like it added a lot to the underground scene, the hip-hop history in South Africa. With hip-hop in particular, we're looking at America more than anything. All our stuff that you see on TV, that you hear on radio is coming from America. So I kind of also, I feel like these guys showed me in particular a way to express yourself where you're from, being from South Africa with your own identity, and find a way to put that authentically into the hip-hop. You know, guys like Optical Illusion and Zabs, they gave you things to think about, like a challenging kind of hip-hop, not pop, not stuff that's easily digestible. And for myself as a writer, these are things that kind of built my world as well. It expanded. Here are people that know the culture, that love it as much as I do, and they're kind of trailblazing in a way, you know.
Inspirations are mainly to many peoples, but like there are pros like Luan Oliveira, and I really like it how he do his tricks, and yeah, he's mainly my inspiration. And there are other kids in my neighborhood, and yeah.
So I think I get a lot of inspiration from anything and everything just around me. People I meet on a daily basis, people I talk to, I interact with. sometimes people I meet in different neighborhoods when I'm painting on the wall, I end up talking to them, and before I know it, 2 or 3 days later, I get inspired by something that someone said, and at the end of the day, I can say that inspiration is all around us. You just have to be keen.
Skateboarding is everything. It's not just having fun and go home. It's a good example of how life works. There's a common word in life, like don't give up and never give up. Try again. That's life. And if you don't give up, if you give up, or if you never try again, you fail. So I see it's a good example for life.
Well, my art is characterized by a lot of urban flavor, I can say that. So urban flavor, like things like I find a lot of inspiration from painting on surfaces found mostly in an urban setting. Let's say things like walls, rough walls, grungy walls, metal surfaces, you know. So you find that my art also sort of captures some of these qualities, and at the end of the day, it sort of represents the kind of urban chaos and just the rough and tough surface of the urban setting, you know.
It's a lifestyle, everything, how you act, and it have a great friendships. And it's not like just another sport or like a football. It's a different sport. You're gonna have great friends, and you will learn big life lessons, like you will never give up. If you are a real skater, every time you fail, but you're gonna try again. So it's all about discipline. If you don't have the discipline, you can't even do the easiest tricks. So it teaches you many things, and it's a school, and it's like a love, peace, and a friendship. It's have many things, you know.
The past couple of years living in Johannesburg, this is where everybody goes. You know, Johannesburg, I feel like, is the melting pot of South Africa. You get everyone from every province, you know, whether, you know, Tsonga, Zulu, Xhosa, whether you're Afrikaans or colored, English roots, whatever, you know, everybody kind of meets there. All the artists go there because that's where historically everybody kind of migrated to. So it's vibey, it's colorful, it's chaotic, it's beautiful and ugly at the same time. You know, there's so much disparity, I feel like, in South Africa as a whole, and Joburg kind of highlights that.
City is like the name. It's like a new flower, Addis Ababa. So it's like a vibrant city. Every time it's busy, and people working, playing, and you know, it's a cheerful city, and it's like it's the best city and the best people, and it's busy every time, most of the place, because people are moving, doing things. And yeah, I love my city, man.
Hectic, amazing coffee, full of buildings. There are a lot of buildings under construction and already constructed. A lot. What else? Yeah, and the night scene is not that bad. It could be more fun. We could grow it, but at this point, it's alright. I'm not a big fan of the night scene here in Addis, but the rest, everything is dope. Like amazing people and all that, everything.
Oh man, Nairobi so far. I mean, well, growing up, I think Nairobi used to be described as a green city in the sun, but it's no more. Unfortunately, right now it's chaotic, it's noisy, it's sort of disorganized in one way or the other. So Nairobi is it's just chaotic.
Mbona mi bado si trip, mbona nyi bado mnalip, Mzaeli choma tu picture, bado wanna die this trip. Mbona mi bado si trip, mbona mi bado mna live. Mzaeli choma tu picture, bado wanna die this trip. Mini slum fella sela bila hela kianzilishi wa hiki kizazi chama fuata nyayo ya wahenga wapendwa kitukuzwe hii ni kazi ya dedan twende mapema mpande ngazi alishuka mapema kazi na tema sijui ya kusema lakini na trip kuja na gavi si twende kwa seas story na panga si bongi kwa streets kile nafanya si easy to beat ni aje na ito ipangi ni sweet silali fofofo silali mbona mi bado si trip mbona nyi bado mna live Mzaeli choma tu picture, bado wanna die this trip. Mbona mi bado si trip, mbona mi bado mna live. Mzaeli choma tu picture, bado wanna die this trip.
Mbona mi bado si lali, na nimekula mavali. Mi niko Nyeri na Bali, huwezi kunipata niko mbali. Mbona mi bado si lali, na nimekula mavali. Mi niko Nyeri na Bali, huwezi kunipata niko mbali. Mbona gari yako ni ya rental, mbona unakaa kama Kendall, kwani unadhani mini mental, nimepata switch na si menthol, ni mi nae makabila.
The alternative scene here in Addis is growing. We have a lot of work to do, but like yeah, it's growing slowly.
First, me and Mike was trying to legalize the spot with the government and all that shit. So we asked them to build a skate park, and they said it's not for skateboard, it's for football and basketball. So I told Mike like what we have to do, and then he said let's build the park, and then they can destroy it after we skate it tomorrow. So we start working on it. Now it's happening.
Sometimes it's difficult to skate here because it's a new sport for the city and the people, and people think you're skating because you're rich, because like it's not. It's hard to get skateboard here, and they think you're rich, or they think you're mad because you don't care if you broke your leg or something like that. And same time, some police or like some traffic police don't want to see you skating on the streets. And even there are some people who think skateboard is like a ice sport, and they be like, why are you doing it here? It's not the place to do it here, something like that. So it's not easy to skate here, but days and days it's getting a little bit better.
Kids love skateboarding. When they see us skating on the street, they're like, hey, hey, hey. So same thing with girls and young peoples. But when it comes to old peoples like grandpa and grandma, they're like, stop doing this, don't hurt yourself, it's good, it's not good, it's bad. Because they care for us too much.
Right now, locally, I can say there's been a boom of outdoor live events, and this has led to artists also getting a lot of opportunities to create new forms of art. Yeah, so things like BMX, riding, skateboarding. These are some of the emerging arts that I think are also gaining a lot of popularity, in the sense that they're targeted towards young people. So you end up attracting more young people if you have a live event, and you include some of these art forms. Things like live art creation, like live painting. These are some of the art forms I think are also capturing a lot of audiences, live audiences.
And nowadays we're creating some events even for the people, for the local peoples, events about the skateboarding competition, different activities which lets people know it more, and to connect with the outside communities, with the international communities. It's all about the social medias, and the social medias creates opportunities to meet with different people from different countries, from Europe, from US.
In my experience, like especially in the underground or alternative scene or independent scene even in South Africa, especially in the hip hop side. There's a lot of do-it-yourself mentality. You know, we're not at the stage where we've got all the equipment that we need or all the venues have really dope sound. The live scene, I do feel like, is still in a growing phase. The industry itself is small, and there aren't, the infrastructure is not like in Europe. You're not gonna go there and get like this super dope venue immediately with this, with everything that comes in. The scene is still growing in comparison to the scene, for example, like in Europe or in the States. In that sense, it is necessary. You do find groups or collectives of artists that have kind of found the same experience, that it's difficult to do one thing by yourself. It's difficult to do anything without the sponsorship or the funding, because the infrastructure is not well built. We're not there yet. This is something we're still working towards. So these collectives, you'll find, maybe will organize hip-hop sessions. We've attended quite a lot, whether it's in Soweto or in the Vaal or in the East Rand. There's different communities, and they're not well-off people, like South Africa in general is not a rich country. The majority of the people that live there have to make do with what they have.
I mean, art is all around us, so you're just forced to experience it, regardless of your age, regardless of your gender, religious background, and so forth. So I think, a few years back it was a bit hard for different people to access different types of art, because it was mainly found in galleries. So unless you're invited or you pay, then it was sort of a rich man's entertainment thing. But now I think with public art, with murals all over, with public performances, people are getting exposed to all these different types of art, even in the hood, for free. Like you don't need to pay for anything, or even if you have to pay, you just pay for you pay a little amount just for maybe for the artist's upkeep and that and all that, So you find that there's acrobats in the city who are doing their art form, and the audience is right there.
Oh, about the women and the underground music industry, and generally in music industry, me being one of the few DJs in female DJs in Ethiopia, it's not that big. Women are not that encouraged to like be creative and start DJing and like performing and all that, and we still have a lot of work to do, and we're working. Like me being a DJ and like me doing my thing hopefully will inspire other female DJs or musicians, or in any art activities will inspire them to, hopefully it will inspire them to do their thing. And even though it's male dominated industry, we can, if we do our thing, we can still grow, multiply. Yeah, so we need to work on that.
Do actually find a lot coming up. Not that they're starting now, but the eye is finally on them. They've been around for many years, like cats like Ntabi, like myself, like Super, Sky Wanda. There are many dope artists within, but the nature of the underground itself is not mainstream. It's not something that you're just gonna look up and find. You usually have to dig for it. So I do find that like the balance is kind of getting a little bit, towards the more equal side in terms of the presence of women and the focus on them as well. And I do feel like they're representing, man, and they're killing. From whichever province you're gonna look at in South Africa, there's at least one name that you're gonna hear.
So there are some girl skaters, but they are not enough like the boys. The boys are more to the skate. It's not easy for girls here, because even it's a new sport, so the girls scene is not that much. There are some amazing skaters, but not enough, and we need more girls, and we're working on that. And yeah, because girls need to be part of this amazing sport. So in the future, we will see more girl skaters, I think.
I feel like there's a strong feminine presence in the independent scene in South Africa. I mean, as much as in the mainstream as well. But the independent folks are quite hardy. You know, they go extremely left, and they really explore their arts and their crafts, you know. You have like really dope visual artists. I like Faith 47 is one of my favorite writers, you know, on these walls. And then from there to like something more, I guess, traditional, you have Bedu, which is run by like Cuba. I know her from the hip hop scene as a rapper. Eventually, you know, incorporating her love for fashion and incorporating also the traditional gear of Southern African folks with these wonderful like beaded head, what do we call them, like headdresses. You know, there's something very artistic in that I kind of appreciate too. Like the Ninevites also, Nguli runs this as well, like fabrics, prints in traditional colors and, you know, like a traditional thing that's been made modern that you can use today as well, and it kind of fits into the arts as well. I mean, there's like poets and singers and it's full. And I feel like because there hasn't been a lot of there hasn't been a big eye or a big focus on South Africa in a long time, outside of, you know, apartheid and all these other stupid things that have happened. They're also hectic, but there hasn't been that big an eye on us, so it's kind of made it that we kind of focus on ourselves. There's an authentic kind of South African feel in our art as well. You know, it could be something as obvious as my accent in my raps on a beat, to how somebody paints. Like you'll talk about maybe Mzondile Buthelezi, who does brilliant graph murals, you know, but he's got a specific style that is particularly South African if you look at his work. So I do feel like there's a kind of thread in the artistic, in the independent sense. There's a focus on survival more than anything.
For my generation, I think I'm a bridge, or like I'm a road cleaner, because it was hard before to skate, and there are some people I would love to thank. Even for us, it was so hard too, but we're trying to resolve that things, because guys or dudes who start skating after us, to be easy for them. At least in our hood, they got this DIY skate place, and we skate together like a family.
To be honest, skateboarding is difficult for financing myself, unless I'm working on a skate manufacturing, like board company, wheel company, or bearing company. But skating only is not good for finance myself, because it's not known, like people not knowing it well, so we have to work on it more.
Okay, in the future, I would love to see skateboarding get respected and get what it deserves here. And we need to see more skate parks, more skate places to practice our stuff, and more local brands. And would love to see the culture mixed and with the African way, and to get exposed in the African medias, and to be ourselves with this sport, and to describe ourselves like the way we are, who we are, like Africans, and not tracing only the Western culture, but to describe your culture through skateboarding, like the African way, and that would be the future, and we will see that soon.
The privilege of travel, I feel like, you know, it's difficult to travel within Africa itself. It's definitely not like Europe, where you can go from Greece to Spain to Germany in one day, you know, and borders and all of this kind of stuff, they restrict movement. And I feel like if there was more movement, more travel, or more opportunities to travel, and of course this is linked to cash, but it gives you an opportunity to expand.
I want to see all of African skateboarding community working together, because that way we can have power. We can spread skateboarding all over Africa, and then we can have a lot of professional skaters. That way we can win competitions, street leagues. So we have to unite and work together. Yeah.
But to do all this, you need the exposure. If there's anything, that's what I would like for like African artists or African collectives to have. Exposure to the world, because as much as the world hasn't been looking at us, we're being fed all this stuff from Europe and the US and everywhere else, and then for us to showcase our stuff, and you don't have the infrastructure that maybe another country has, you're kind of limiting that growth as well. The reason we want these better venues with nice sound is so that artists have a space to practice, to master their art, be able to deliver it on a global level, not only for like big corporations from the US or from Europe to come down to South Africa or any part of Africa for that matter, find something beautiful, take it and come make it big in Europe without benefiting the people that it comes from. You know what I mean? So like it's opportunities like this, and it's naive almost sounding to want all this stuff, but it's needed, and we kind of need to find a way to make it a reality.
I would like African creatives to collaborate, to come together, to learn from each other, to work together. Yeah, that's what I love to see. Peace.